82K BTC. We've got trade wars going on. Uncle Donald, what does he do? He tweets, he pumps us on the weekend, he talks, he dumps us during the week. It's an absolute dog show out there. Things are disgusting at the moment. But guys, we're going to cover you on some of these altcoins. Are you prepared for lower? Are you potentially ready for lower? If we are going to go this, I'm going to cover you on some of those levels. I'm covering the trade war. I'm covering all the news at the moment. There's also Ukraine news coming on. And did somebody say they're going to cut power to New York? Okay, these are all major market movers. So guys, never not a wild day out here. Let's get right into this. God, and if you are enjoying this this absolute dumpage, hit that like, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. You know what to do, because you know what? Fuck it. They can send us down, but we're still going to have fun, and we're still going to play these levels accurately. So I wore my special shirt today because there's nothing else to say other than this thing is disgusting. 𝗵𝗵𝗶 is 20% down. I mean, talk about my feelings getting hurt. Render 20% down. 𝗘𝘀𝗶, I've got that chart for you guys. Are we going much lower on 𝗘𝘀𝗶? 𝗬𝗰, bottom right, 20% down. I've got some big levels for you guys to look at today. 𝗏 spoke about a 𝗏 potential trade yesterday, and we said the market would be absolute filth if 𝗏 was going to hit his entry zone. Well, we are nearly there on 𝗏. Let us know if you are in the chat. What is your entry for the 20% club? Because 𝗏 is about to be the next trade for the 20% club in Chart Hackers. So that is coming in hot. But guys, all round filth, okay? Absolute filth all round. Strategic reserve announced on the weekend. Tons of insider trading, it seems. And now, a little bit talk, trade wars, wrecked. Absolute mess at the moment. So great if you like short-term plays. If you like the bigger things, well, it's been a little bit miserable. So let's get straight into BTC. We'll deal with that just now. But let's get into a couple of 4-hour levels here. So there's a couple of things going on. And in terms of Bitcoin, it's been fairly slow today. And this is not a fair representation of the roller coaster ride that some of the altcoin traders might have been involved in today. So you can see if we dial in on this 4-hour candle here that happened earlier today, you can see there was quite a lot of chop to the upside and then bang, back to the downside. And that is because the news headlines keep coming out and the market can't decide what it wants to do at the moment. So you are totally forgiven unless you're trading very small moves for wondering what the fuck is going on here, because one minute we've got good news, next minute we got very bad news. So in terms of what we can do now and levels we're going to watch, well, this has been our low for the day that I dropped in Chart Hackers earlier. So 81,800. This is going to be our first line of support we are watching here today. Then there's a couple of things lower down. Now, firstly, we can pay attention to our lows from the dump, and that is 78,200. But now, why wouldn't they come and fill that CME gap just above 77K just to finish the job if we do get down there? So for me, the 77K is looking interesting again. And then a little bit lower down, we've got a little cluster there at 75,700. So these are the lower time frame levels that I would pay attention to now on BTC. Now, remember, there is a big announcement coming from Trump later on today. Now, he says he's going to tell it like it is. Now, is that good for the markets or bad for the markets? Maybe the market is risk off at the moment, just in case he says something mad, like maybe he's pulling out of NATO or one of those things, and anything. So anything can happen later on. So all I want to say is, barring even worse news out of there, I would say we can watch these levels for now. Okay, for the next couple of hours. Let's see if these zones to the downside are going to work. And then we'll look at the higher time frame chart in a sec for you guys, and we'll give you some bigger levels that I think are going to be very important if there is a big market sell-off. So what do we do now? If the market does miraculously start pumping and move up, what are we looking at? Well, your big zone has got to be your VWAP from the highs, your 382, your horizontal. This is a big zone for me, 86,700 to 87,700. For me, that's a potential rejection zone. That's a potential short zone for me in that region over there. So just look out there to the upside. If it does pump higher, guys, 89.91. But I want to show you something very interesting. Our liquidation heat map has been absolutely cleaned out. Now, the only bit of liquidity on the 1 week map at the moment is at 95K. Look at this. It's almost like the traders have completely given up on trading at the moment. Look at this proper clean out here. Look at there's a little bit of liquidity there on the 24-hour at 91k, and everything else in between. The guys are basically saying fuck this shit. Okay, we don't want to be long, we don't want to be short. They're just chopping us everywhere. So, and that is getting represented beautifully here in this liquidation heat map. You will know by the time we jump onto my show, normally this time of the day, we normally have a nice yellow band to the upside and we have a nice yellow band to the downside, and those generally become targets. Right now, there's nothing, okay? And what is Matt talking about NVIDIA? And Chaos says, like this shit. Matt says, I know we are hurting. NVIDIA, absolute dog shit, shared entire country's GDP in 24 hours, guys. And, this is the thing. I was going to say, I'm bringing you our new trading partner to trade stocks today. And I was going to say, if you're tired of getting rinsed with these shit coins bouncing around, well, at least we've got stocks. And now NVIDIA is down 9% today. I mean, it's absolutely crazy at the moment. I'm inclined to say it's disgusting at this time of the day. So we're going to talk about trading stocks. Okay, let's see what's going on here. 24-hour wreck. Look at this. On the right-hand side, $1 billion in liquidations. Once again, just cleaning everybody out. All the late longers, bang. And now you're not even a late longer. If you long now, you were probably reasonably long the other day. $1 billion in liquidations here, 24 hours. And just absolutely smashing traders out there. And who said crypto was stressful? I mean, this guy's 21 and he's feeling great. And, I'm also, guys, you probably didn't know, but I'm actually 23. You didn't even know that. And I've got gray hair and my hair's actually falling out. But my real age is 23, believe it or not. And this was basically, and this says being a crypto investor for the last 2 months. And I thought this is a very important video. Yep, that's me. There we go. Do you concur? Okay. Okay, you get the picture. You get the picture as to what is going down at the moment, because that is literally how it feels. And everybody, just like that, is scared again. Look at this Fear and Greed Index. We longed this thing at 16 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and now we are back at 15. Everybody is fucking terrified. But what we do know is that when fear and greed hits these types of levels, we can sometimes start leaning towards longs. And we did that the other day. We had a nice pump. Is it time again? Because it's actually getting ridiculous now that we are at 15 on BTC. So potentially something going on there. And then I posted this earlier today. You can follow me on Twitter at the Lord of Entry. And I was talking about the funding rates of the altcoins that are negative now. So the chart shows high funding typically leads to sharp corrections, while low negative funding could signal a potential opportunity. So we've got fear and greed at the absolute lows, and we've got a decent looking funding rate heat map at the moment. So there is a little bit of opportunity now. If you guys are wondering what has been going on out there at the moment, what is Raphael saying? They can kick us all they want. We've already cut it off. Yeah, guys, there's nothing left. There's nothing left to cut off. It's done. I mean, we cut it off the other day at like 90K. I mean, now we're down at 80 or something. It's an absolute mess. Yumi says, God, I love this show. I can laugh in the blood bar. Guys, you know what? Like the whole point, like trading's supposed to be fun. Okay, let's not make it stressful. We play the good zones. Fuck it. And if you are trading and if you're a trader, you know, like some days you're going to get smashed. The other days you're going to absolutely kill it. It's part of the vibe, you know. So, you know, we have fun up, we have fun down. Maybe sometimes we have a little bit less fun, but as long as we can laugh together. Okay, so the 𝗘𝗶𝗴 letter says, this is absolutely insane. At 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, the S&P opened 30 points higher, and crypto hit its highest level of the trading session. 2:30 p.m. it's lost 1.5 trillion of market cap, and crypto was down 300 billion. You can't make this shit up. That's 1.8 trillion of lost market cap in 5 hours. Now you can be forgiven for feeling frustrated if you were entering longs, whether it's in the S&P or whether it's in crypto. You got absolutely rinsed out there. And then Baba says, is this what fun feels like? And in other words, between 9:30 and 2:30, the S&P and crypto lost $360 billion per hour. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, that's a lovely story, and most of it is due to this situation. So President Trump's 25% on Canada and Mexico, along with 20% tariffs on China, officially are taking effect. Okay, so this is not a good sign for us at all. And then we've got China retaliating with new tariffs on the US as the trade war officially begins. So China has now said, it said it would impose additional tariffs of up to 15% on some US goods beginning March 10th. So these tariffs largely cover US agricultural goods. So we can see the trade war is fully happening. So that little blip that we saw on the weekend was very exciting and whatever, but the macro situation is not good at the moment. Then on top of that, we've got Trump announcing more announcements, and we've got a situation at the moment in Ukraine that is also getting a little bit spicy for us. So let's just see what the 𝗘𝗍𝗄𝐵𝐶 letter is. Oh yeah, they're summing this up for us, and they're saying a lot happened last night. So the largest US tariff hike since 1930 went live, and China has announced the 15% retaliatory tariffs. Okay, we've got that. The S&P and crypto are now extending 2-day losses to $2 trillion. Okay, so there's the pain, and free tariffs for everybody. You know, I'm sure I had that. Where's that thing? Where's this thing? Oh, there it is. Okay, it's tariff season. Here we go. You get a tariff, and everyone gets a tariff. Okay, that is how we're doing it. Thanks to the meme master. Yeah, this guy's a genius. Okay, this is the meme master. This is the man behind some of these memes that you see out there. So everybody gets a tariff, just like the old Oprah show. Now let's take a look at the VIX. This is the volatility index, and this basically tells us when the market's shitting its pants and when everything is fine. So a pumping VIX is not a good look. So when it's pumping, we tend to see a lot of risk off in the market. Remember August, the Japanese carry trade? That was a filthy time, wasn't that? And we are now pushing up to levels pretty close to what we saw in December, and it was pretty painful in December. And there was quite a big dump at the time there in crypto as well. So you can see this VIX is a little bit overextended, might be pushing to a region where we could get a bounce. And in terms of the S&P, well, yeah, I mean, I'm testing along right now on the S&P on my new exchange partner. So we're going to talk about this now, but I think we are moving into a zone where we could get some kind of short-term bounce on the S&P. Even if they do send us lower, it could look something like that. It could look something like that. But in terms of a reaction area here, and in terms of the market selling off into Trump about to announce an announcement, okay, maybe the market's overreacted. Maybe this thing's going to bottom, and Uncle Donald is going to say, well, actually, I just bought a box of chocolates for Melania, and then the market's going to pump again. So that is possible, obviously. And PMG George says, risk on, nothing to cut off. So S&P, guys, join me on my new exchange partner. This is BTCC. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to trade stocks on this thing. Okay, now you can trade crypto and all those things, but we're going to focus on BTCC, and we're going to trade things like Tesla, Microsoft, Google. We're going to trade the S&P. We can trade gold. We can trade all these types of things on BTCC. So we're going to bring that aspect to the trading show, because we don't know how long this bear market of altcoins is going to last, and we want to make sure that we are doing a couple of other things along the way, because we have had periods where the altcoin market falls over, but the stocks are absolutely ripping. So why not take advantage of that? Because we can actually send crypto to BTCC, and we're going to trade it the same way. 20x leverage if we want. We can lower the leverage, we can raise it, and all these things. So what you're going to do for me is go into the show description. There it is. And you're going to find BTCC. And is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay, there it is. Okay, BTCC. So it's fourth from the top here, and they do have an offer for you. So if you want to trade stocks, you can get a free bonus. So if you want to test the platform out, you put in $200, and they're giving you a 50% bonus. So if you put in $200, they're giving you 50%. Now they're only giving 10% if you're putting in like massive amounts. So if you're putting in 10K, they're going to give you 1,000. But if you're putting in 200, they're going to give you $100 to trade with. Okay, so trade the stuff with me, and you can see I've just gone long on the S&P, and I've got one more limit order set at 5722, and possible reversal coming here on this S&P. So looking for a bounce in that area. I've just opened it. You can see on the right, they've got leverage here, 20x leverage. You can probably go up to 50x on the S&P, and then a couple of cool stocks. Look at this, Amazon, Coinbase is here, Dell, look, tons of stuff here. We're going to cover a lot of these, and we might be getting some moves here on the market. So maybe a little recovery bounce coming for us. Now let's talk about Tesla, because this thing is on a level. We might actually get a bounce here at the moment. So Tesla's down 2% pre-market after China made EV sales fell 49%. Okay, and that was in February. So there was a little drop on Tesla, but look at this. It's uncanny. Tesla has now dropped into an interesting level. It's our 618. It's our quantum reactor. It's our horizontals. It's our rising trend. And we've got a daily reversal. Okay, so there is a possibility here, and it's actually printed a bit of bullish divergence here. So Tesla might actually be giving us a little bounce. So this could be fun. Could be a fun little bounce trade here for us. Now, remember, you don't want to ape into too many positions just yet, because we don't know what Uncle Donald is going to announce later on today. But in terms of some tokens on some good areas and some good levels, well, looking at Tesla after that dump makes sense. Could be a little bounce here, and you can obviously trade this on BTCC. Okay, so if you want to have a go, you're just going to type in Tesla, TSLA, there it is. Okay, and then you can trade this thing there. We can see the S&P is giving us a little bounce. Hopefully it's a little bit more than just a little bounce. Now let's talk Bitcoin on the daily. And Zen says 100% tariff on Tesla cars. Okay. Oh, wait. I've got more news for you guys. Hold on. Let's wait. Let's get some more news here. Okay, so a ton of things happened on the stock market. We don't need to read about that. But Nvidia got absolutely hammered. Now we know Trump announced yesterday there was a chip involvement or an investment in another firm. Then there was also a little bit of drama from Nvidia stock dropping 9% because the Wall Street Journal reported Chinese buyers were illegally accessing its latest chips, evading U.S. export controls. Okay, so there's a lot of bad news and negativity around it, but it's not on a great level for me in terms of trading just yet. You can see that is an area. So maybe if we get a close above this 115, then we can start getting a little bit more interested in Nvidia. But that is what I'm seeing there. Then a couple of things. Now, you would have noticed earlier the market pumped slightly, and we got a little bit excited before it started jumping again. And this was Lutnick. And James described him as, what did we call him? What did you call him?
Howard Nutlick. Yeah, this is the greasy car salesman that sits and giggles behind Trump's left shoulder, I guess it is, in the White House. That's there. The one.
It's like the sidekick. And he's like, if countries can show they can stop the flow of fentanyl, tariffs will come off. And basically, when that came out, we had a lot of tokens start pumping off some interesting levels. So it's amazing how these little headlines are moving things. And then just a reminder, we showed this yesterday. Trump says tomorrow night will be big. I will tell it like it is. Now, if this is a NATO situation, maybe we got a couple of things happening, because suddenly Zelensky has said he's ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to bring peace. So maybe he's realized there is a bit of an issue coming here, and maybe he's understand. We don't want to get too political here. We don't really know the real situation, but he's obviously realized, he needs America more than he doesn't need them, and here we go. So he's trying to win him back, and then this was huge, guys. I mean, this was proper huge. And let's play this for everybody. This is now the Premier of Ontario. Okay, he's threatening to shut off power to 1.5 million customers in New York.
600 products from 35 states. I talked to the governor of Kentucky and Mitch McConnell. Don't touch our bourbon. I'm going after absolutely everything. And I don't want to. We keep the lights on the 1.5 million homes and manufacturing in New York, in Michigan, and in Minnesota. If he wants to destroy our economy and our families, I will shut down the electricity going down to the U.S. And I'm telling you, we will do it. It's unfortunate. I would rather ship you more electricity, ship you more critical minerals. I want to ship you more energy, more potash to keep your farmers going, and uranium that you use for your nuclear power. It comes through from Saskatchewan over to Ontario. And it's going to be a massive, massive problem. I'm telling you, we love the Canadians love Americans. I love the U.S. Everyone does. And not one American friend. When I lived there for 20 years, I've talked to all of them. Hardcore Republicans are saying this is the biggest mistake President Trump has done, and we're dead against it. And I've yet to find one.
There you go, guys. So market movers. So, this is why these trading conditions are very tough, because you'll take a position and then next thing you'll get a headline. And cutting off power to New York is quite a serious thing, and that can obviously move the market. So
they're not actually going to cut off the power. They can't. This guy's as much of a blowhard as Trump is. I don't know who likes to talk more. They both love doing it. So, yeah. But there has been an announcement come out saying that they're actually going to put a 25% tariff on the electricity going to the States. They can't cut it off. It's literally illegal to cut off power during the winter months anyway. You can't do that. And that's obviously not going to happen, but there is a 25% tariff. So that means electricity costs just went up 25% for Americans.
So yeah, talk about inflation. Okay, I want to control inflation. Well, now your electricity is going up a little bit there. That's a bit of a problem. And then Mario Norfolk reporting Trump calls out Canada's banking policies. Are there more things coming? Now he says Canada doesn't allow American banks to do business in Canada, but their banks flood the American market. Oh, that seems fair, doesn't it? Says Uncle Donald. Okay, so again, something else around the corner. Okay, is there more drama coming in the market? So guys, now you know this is what we're playing with at the moment, and these conditions are tough. Now let's look at Bitcoin on the daily here. Let's get our heads around what is actually going on. So this is the weekly chart, so we keep it really simple here, guys. You can see our big CME gap is here. It's still in play, and our low, so we did touch on that on the 4-hour chart, and those lows are 78,100, and the low of that CME gap is down to, say, 77,100. So we understand that is a region. Now you can see in terms of the 200-day MA, we are getting a bounce off that area at the moment, and that is 82,600 that we are looking at the moment. Now, if things start moving lower, again, we don't know what's coming next out of Trump's mouth. We have no idea. It could be something really bullish and the market pumps. If it's bearish, let's be prepped for it, okay? And realistically, where can this thing go? So if there is a bullish push, we probably are going to see something along these lines. Okay, we'll probably see 91K again. You'll see there's a nice little trend on the downside. So you might get something like that if there is a bullish push now in the market. So look out around about 91 makes sense. 92, some kind of rejection. Now, if he comes out with negative news, there's probably going to be a couple of bumps along the way, but I would say your big one you're going to be watching, 72K. Okay, you can see we've got a couple of levels here that we can talk about. I mean, number one is the 73,800, and that makes sense, 73,800. But in terms of the big juicy zones here, let's not write off this area here. Let's not, we don't have to be too precise, but we can see everything from 73 down to 70K or even 69 at a push makes sense as a potential big reaction zone here on BTC. So that is where we'd like to see some kind of strong bounce out of the market. That would make sense to me if we could push down into that region, but obviously not ideal. But in terms of the chart we're looking at the moment, if this was a 15-minute chart that we were paying attention to, we'd probably look at this thing and say, okay, this thing has now lost a big level. And what is the natural move now? The natural move would be, in my opinion, something like that. Okay, that makes sense to me now in terms of the weekly chart. So we could be looking at that. And Reynard says, what happened, bro? Reynard, what do you want to know about? Do you want to know about the tariffs? Do you want to know about the power? Do you want to know about Ukraine? Do you want to know about rumors about America withdrawing out of NATO? All these nice things that keep the market nice and stable. Okay, all these fun things. And what did he get a 90% drop in there? What is he talking about? And Mia's selling her toilet paper at the moment. So yeah, I mean, sometimes there we go, a little bouncy on Bitcoin. Mia, Mia, did you sell the bottom there? What happened? And PMG says he's already cut off his grocery budget for trades. Look, sometimes we got to commit. Okay, sometimes we got to commit to these trades. Now, let's talk USDT dominance. I touched on this yesterday, and there is a chance, okay? There is a chance that this is doing what we wanted it to do. A little bit higher, but we said, look for USDT dominance to fill the wick, okay? Not all the way. I was happy with about halfway, okay? Fill the wick, and then start pushing lower. So I said it's not necessarily not bullish if we do get that out of the market. So we had a very strong USDT dominance dump. Now we've pumped back. We filled some of the wick. Now we are rejecting. Yes, there's a possibility now that this thing does start pushing a little bit lower. So that is on the table. So eyes on that. That's a hint of a little bit of bull source. And then in terms of dominance, we saw dominance pumping quite hard earlier, but in terms of where it's rejecting, it's actually quite nice. It's rejecting at 61.3%. This is our daily level. So you're going to keep your eyes on this. Bitcoin dominance. Remember, altcoins do well when dominance is red. So we just want this dominance to grind lower. As long as that is happening, then we are comfortable sitting in these alt positions, and we're going to look to trade them off some of these good levels. Okay, so 61.3, that's your line in the sand for dominance now. You don't really want to pop higher than that. And if we start grinding down, then you might find some of the alts that I'm going to show you are going to be bouncing off some of these levels. Okay, and here is total 3. And yesterday, look, very depressing, I would say. So let's call it another trend fake out. Okay, so what do we see so often now? We get these trend breaks, you get the retest, and the bulls don't step in and they just dump you down even further. So that is basically what went down here. We had a break of horizontals. We had a break of trend, and this is a major level. I mean, this was a pretty serious level here for us on total 3. We've popped through that. We've now broken back down, and look at that. We've retested and rejected at 840 billion. So not great, okay? Not great in terms of the total 3. And how do we turn bullish again? So we play two games here. Okay, we're going to watch. This is our key support, 780 billion. If we are holding the support, we should be okay. When do we turn bullish? Let's break through 840, 850. Then we start looking again. Then we'll say, okay, we're back into the range, and we can start pushing a bit higher. And what does PMG said about a bearish engulfing there, the perfect bearish engulfing candle. And yeah, bro, look, the shit's going down all over the place. Okay, now let's talk. Where are we? Let's talk me getting rinsed on ETH. Oh my fuck. What is this? ETH went to 0 on this chart. Okay. No, oh look, my Jesus. Did you see that?
What? Is that literally 0?
It must be a glitch. No, it literally went to 0 on this chart. Okay, it must be a glitch here because my position is still there. I was going to say
your trade's still there, huh?
Yeah, my trade is still here. Okay, so we didn't get licked, fortunately. Oh my God, that's quite terrifying. Okay, so yes, that's my trade's still running. Okay, so everything is fine.
Maybe this thing tells the future though. That might be it. ETH is going home, just like Benjamin Cowan said.
Yes. Okay. So anyone panicking? Everything seems fine with VX. Okay. My trade is still open. Yeah. It seems okay. My God. Okay. How to give someone heart failure? Okay. So that is good. So yes, guys, I'm potentially going to get rinsed here. There's $7,800 in margin in this trade. It's now $54,000 in size. I committed to buying it down to 2,1 to 2,000. I've added a little bits at a time, and this is where I'm at. So my liquidation is 1,950. Out of experience, okay, I'm going to show you the ETH chart. I'm going to tell you what experience tells me, okay? Look on chain says, 𝗏𝗏, 7 siblings spent $10 million to buy 4,900 ETH at 2,075 again, okay? So we know some guys are buying ETH, and 7 siblings currently own 1.1 million ETH, $2.4 billion worth in 2 wallets, okay? So there's people are buying a little bit of ETH, and Cointelegraph reporting that a crypto whale who shorted ETH with 50x leverage currently has unrealized profit of $81 million, according to his short. Now, I wonder when he's planning on closing it.
I'm not going to close that yet. I'm leaving it running.
Okay, keep it open. If it goes to 0, you're printing. I mean, that's a good short, though, James. Good short. Okay,
nice,
let me show you what experience tells me in these scenarios with regards to adding margin. Now, I've seen this in the past. Obviously, as a trader, we've been in these situations before, and you see these types of levels and you think, oh yeah, maybe it's going to bounce at the next one. Maybe it's going to bounce at the next one. And we actually saw this recently with Solana. Okay, so on the way down, you'll probably get these types of bounces if it does start going down, but your big dog is going to be this 1,600 level. You can see here, big cluster, 786 fib. That is the real area there for me. So experience tells me if I start funneling in leverage, more margin here into this position, I might cover myself at 1,900, have a little bounce, and then we might start coming back down again. What do? You shovel more margin in that, and then you go again, you shovel more margin, and suddenly you're 20, 30,000 in the hole on margin. And what if they wick you lower than that? Okay, so experience tells me I'm not going to be shoveling more margin into this one. I'm going to let it play out. So if they want to come for me, fuck it. Let them come for me, and we're going to see what type of bounce we get. When ETH turns bullish again, we're going to start looking at a fresh trade on this thing. So right now, you can see it's losing a rising trend. And how can we save this? Well, Trump gives us a guard candle later in his announcement. Bang. Okay. Then we can look at bullish moves again off 2-1, and we can play that thing again. So that is basically the only way that trade is now going to get saved for me on ETH. And you can see it's been a hell of a ride from the upside here. So 2,900, we've dropped 30% on ETH, okay, in 15 days. 30% clean out. Okay. And I mean, look, it hasn't been that pleasant on some of these others as well. And then this is a warning bell as well. 3 million sold. $430 million unstaked by FTX Alameda today. 3.38 million has been deposited to Binance. Now, what do you typically do when you deposit money onto an exchange. You typically, or tokens onto exchange, you're typically looking to maybe liquidate them or sell them. And that is normally quite a bearish situation. And King Sock says, Cardano is pumping. Guys, I've got that Cardano chart for you. We're going to look at it. Okay. So Sol BTC doing kind of what we said it was going to do. We pumped up into resistance, looking for that rejection, and that now is what has happened. Now, let's take a look here at what is going on L-Bank. And we can see we've had a little bounce here in the market. And geez, okay. Nearly got taken there. So this is Sol from earlier. I dropped this in Chart Hackers. And there were a couple of entries here. And one of the entries was also AI16Z, which I actually took the stop on this thing. But I've been buying a bit of Sol today on a good area. So let's talk about the current Sol situation. So Sol on the daily, let's look at this thing. So you can see where we are. We've had this beautiful rejection that we spoke about yesterday. And lovely 200-day MA, horizontals, blah, 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 all these things. And then we start looking at a couple of levels to the downside where this thing can hold after a monster rejection. And in terms of interesting zones, it was 147, 146. So that is where I closed my short yesterday on my Sol position, and I added to my long yesterday. Then I got stopped out last night on the long. After closing the short, I got stopped out at like 136 or something on the long. And then today I took a look at some of these charts for Sol, and I gave the hackers a Sol setup, and so far this is actually fucking perfect. Okay, so now it's actually played out pretty nicely. We've had a bit of a choppy day, as you can see, but so far Sol is looking quite nice now off this 2-hour chart that we're watching. So the game plan today was there were 2 levels to watch for Sol. The first one was going to be this 131 to 130 zone. You can see where these arrows were sitting there on that dip. And then the next level to the downside was going to be the order blocks at 128 down to 125, which was going to be the next zone of interest there on Sol. So these 2 regions were the ones we were looking for potential longs. Now, obviously, the market is so choppy, and you can see we've had one pump today already. And now we've had one massive sell-off again, and just lots of chop. So what I would say, be super careful in terms of resistance for Sol. This is clearly a danger zone for any Sol traders, 138. Okay, big danger zone there for you, 138. If you reclaim that, I think we've got a short opportunity later on for Sol, and it might be somewhere around this VWAP region into that 0.5. So that whole region is going to be pretty interesting for us. So just look out later on. If we do get a bullish move for Sol, you're going to look somewhere between 150 and 152. You might get some kind of rejection there. Look at that. It will be a retest of that trend as well. So that could be a bearish retest there, and then some kind of rejection potentially on Sol. Okay, so that's your upside target. So right now you can see support 131 for Sol. If you are long, 138 is resistance. Be careful at that resistance zone. Your next level is 145. Your next level is 150. Watch those areas there on Sol. Now let's talk AI16Z. And I actually took the stop on this thing earlier today, and I'm wondering if we should have a second crack at this thing. Let's see. Almost time for a second crack, I think, at this one. This market looks like it's recovering. AI16Z. So I wore that stop earlier at about 289, somewhere there. But you can see in terms of this level, this was one of the 2 levels that we were looking for a bounce. You can see we printed a 4-hour reversal on this AI16Z. So there could be a move coming here, guys. I don't want to get you guys too excited, but if there is, there's a 21% play right here. What is your risk? Your risk currently is 6%. Okay, there's a 6% risk on AI16Z. Your upside is 20%. Okay, look out there. If we push into 20%, that is probably a rejection zone. If it does start grinding higher, folks, then you're looking at something like that, and you want to play that breakout into 41. So your levels now: support 276, upside target 34, next target 41. Look out for a rejection at 34. Okay, remember, all these charts go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show. Okay, so pay attention there, and it will be ready for you guys and locked and loaded. Okay, let's go. Sonic. Okay, here's one. Okay, for you guys. So I've got Aptos as well for you. I've got Sonic, and we're looking at my brew. He's talking about Sonic, and I've also got Injector for you guys, and we're going to look at 𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀 today. So that is dropping in some interesting zones, and then I've got one or two others here. I've got 𝗬𝗰𝗏 and Ondo coming in hot for you guys. So Andre Cornier saying 907,000 in the fee monetization contract address, all to be paid out to teams on Sonic, the only chain where you get paid for activity you create. Now, is this true? I don't know. We got a guy underneath saying it's not quite true, and you said what you said is factually wrong, says 𝗏𝗰𝗏𝗀𝗏 at the bottom. He says chains like Near and Multiverse have developer rewards, blah, blah, blah. So we don't know if that is factually true, but he is kind of bull posting about a couple of things. So in terms of S, and in terms of trying to be as objective as possible for potential bounce zones for me on S, and in terms of high conviction setups, there were two levels today. First one was this order block. At the moment, you can see it's getting eaten up for a possible bounce. So this is this 52 to 51 region for Sonic. So if you are trading this region as a possible bounce, you're probably going to use that candle low as your support, that 494. You're going to watch that region. Now, to the upside, where can this thing go? Well, first rejection zone is going to be 568. You're going to watch that one. And then your next rejection zone is most likely going to be your VWAP from the highs on Sunday, okay, down to your horizontals. So 63. Those are your upside targets there if it bounces on that region. And then in terms of higher conviction zones that I would like to see, I really love this region down here. And that is from 465 down to 437, that zone. Okay, and this we know is quite a big weekly level. I put a note here on the chart. I said weekly level ties in. That's a weekly level on Sonic. So what we did was we looked at the old Phantom chart that's available on Binance.us. Okay, Binance US, the old Phantom chart is there, and that gives you a couple of weekly levels. Remember, Sonic is an offshoot of Phantom, so we can use the old Phantom chart. So okay, so guys, Sonic, in terms of short zones, there it is. Okay, that's a possible short area for me. If it does pump, look out there. Trend, VWAPs, horizontals, look out there. And if anything, guys, that is a head short zone. If anything, that is a TP zone for anyone that is long. So be super careful up there at the 62, 63. Looks like a danger zone for me. Okay, then support you've got. This chart will be in Chart Hackers. And guys, remember, there's tons of things going on in Chart Hackers. Now, Chart Hackers is my trading group, but it's so much bigger than me. Okay, I'm just one of the cogs in the Chart Hackers wheel there that turns. We've got an incredible team of traders and innovators and fucking smart people in there, and we've got an amazing community that we are building. And in spite of these bull market, in spite of this bear market conditions, the guys are learning, the guys are longing, the guys are shorting. There's so much going on, and we've got a new initiative there. Hash says send the bullhorn. Why not? Now I want to show you this new initiative, and this was from 𝗏𝗆𝗆 and FJ. Now, you guys obviously know 𝗏𝗆𝗆. You might not know FJ, but the 20% Club is launching, okay? And I just want to show you what the 20% Club is. And it's a brand new initiative here. Let's turn this volume down, and let's show you guys what this is all about.
Welcome to the first official meeting of the 20% Club in Chart Hackers. For anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about here, basically the idea is we're going to compound 20% gains on spot trades only. Because I think we're at a point where enough of us have taken enough stop losses, enough liquidations, and given up enough of our hard-earned money to leverage trading. To kind of explain the power of compounding. And I'm going to throw out some big numbers here. Don't take these as like guarantees or promises, but just to demonstrate the power of compounding. If you start with $100 and you make 20% per trade, after 30 trades, you will get somewhere in the region of $20,000. After 50 trades, you get somewhere in the region of $1 million. Simple is not the same, but that's how simple it can be.
So this is the new 20% Club initiative that's going down in Chart Hackers. Now, obviously, that sounds so simple, okay? But it's obviously trading is not that simple. But what we've got is quite a nice system there with 𝗏𝗆𝗆. He loves trading swing trades with his indicators. It's spot trading. So you'll own the token. If the market goes against you, at least you own the token. You're not getting rinsed out and things like that. And obviously, you can compound things 100%, but you can also compound things 10% or 20% and start getting those types of results. So that is our latest Chart Hackers initiative. initiative. You'll find out more about that in Chart Hackers. And then we've got another initiative for you guys, but you have to be following the Chart Hackers account. So make sure you are following at the Chart Hackers. And what we're going to do, okay, and Chaos actually explains it. He says, who wants a sneak peek into Chart Hackers this week? Make sure you are following the Chart Hackers account on both accounts. You're going to have to be alert. See you inside with David Senzit and the Lord of Entry and the rest of the team. So we're not going to leave the alert on for too long. Okay, we're going to drop a post there probably during Saturday or Sunday. We're going to drop a post there. Make sure you have your notifications on or paying attention. It's going to give you exclusive access to something special in Chart Hackers that is happening on Sunday. Okay, but you got to be following. You got to have the notifications on. So follow us at the Chart Hackers, and we'll give you access to a couple of fun things on Sunday. So something to look forward to. Okay, so S, guys, we have covered S. Let's talk Aptos, and I feel like I'm in a cave without my trading music. Let's get this back on there. So much better. Okay, we haven't touched Aptos in a very long time, and I thought, guys, let's just look at this thing. Okay, so Aptos Dex weekly insights, total users 28,000 for the week. Oh, no, total users 28,000, new users 6,000 for a week. Please explain what the churn is. Okay, so I mean, they've got 28,000 users, but 6,000 have joined this week. Okay, so I don't know. So how many left? That's the real question, I guess. Weekly volume 98 million, and total swaps 532,000. So is that good? Fuck, guys, I don't know. I trade these shit coins, and I'm just sharing this information that I read. So Aptos has a massive holder base, but the distribution is shocking. 2.4 million hold 1 to 10 Aptos. And look at that, 2,600 hold 50,000 Aptos, and only 3,500 own over $100,000 Aptos. Okay, so there's the spread of holders at the moment. And if that's interesting to you, well, let's look at the chart. So in terms of Aptos and playing it very simply, and in terms of a swing trade, yeah, without leverage, we keep it super simple. There could be quite a big move coming for Aptos, okay? And this will obviously be relevant or relative to the market as well. But in terms of the weekly, we haven't seen a divergence print, bullish divergence, and a blue dot on many tokens on the weekly. This is one of the first that we've actually seen start coming out on our oscillator. So that is telling me there's a very good chance this major weekly level is actually going to hold for Aptos. Anything down to even 4.3. Looks like it might potentially hold you for us. And we're talking about levels last visited in October 23 in the depths of the bear market. I mean, it was such filthy trading conditions back then. And then look at our August dump and that level there. And here we are. We're pushing back into that zone. So for me, potentially, as long as Uncle Donald cleans up his act here and things start looking a little bit better, potentially there's a beautiful spot trade coming on Aptos. Okay, there's potentially quite a big move here, and what I would say is give it lots of breathing room, you know, if we're trading spot, but you want to give this thing a lot of space. And in terms of upside, I would say you'd probably look at a 70% upside here to the 200-day moving average. I don't think that's unreasonable. If you look at these charts, they often come back and they tap into the 200-day MA. At some point, they leave the 200-day MA, but they always seem to come back and visit it. Look at that, okay? These pumps all the time. So at some point, it's going back to the 200-day MA. And in terms of a potential upside move, 70%, 74% looks reasonable here. And obviously in dream conditions, you take this thing way higher and you trade it back to the range high. But let's not get greedy, okay? So we're going to look at that 200-day MA as a possible spot trade there on Aptos. Okay, so there you go for that guy. Now let's talk 𝗬𝗎. And I wanted to cover you guys again. We don't know what's coming out of Donald's mouth later on. Okay, he could absolutely fuck the week up completely, excuse my French, and or he could just come out with something soft and we can start popping. Okay, so let's be prepared for both situations. And in terms of 𝗬𝗎, I wanted you guys to see the big levels on 𝗬𝗎. Now I know you guys see me, I trade 𝗬𝗎 quite a bit, and you can see what's going on here. 𝗬𝗎 has dropped into quite an interesting level, and I just want you guys to note this. This is the VWAP from the August dump. That's the absolute lows on 𝗬𝗎 from 2024. We are now sitting on that VWAP. It's tied into a 618 fib. It's tied into a small weekly level as well at 2.3. So I want to bring this level to your attention as a possible bouncer. Okay, so, and for me, it's anything from that area. I want to give you just a little range here that you can play with. So, and this is obviously, you know, if you're playing these big weeklies, you're going to keep it very low margin and you're going to keep it spot ideally. But there's a 10% range here in that level where I'm comfortable that this thing could give us a nice bounce. Okay, Nicholas says 𝗬𝗎's the only golden child. What does he say? What did he say there? He said, 𝗬𝗆's the only golden child that almost made us think we are having an alt season. Yeah, it's possible. But in terms of the range here, I think we've got about a 10% range in 𝗬𝗆 that you can play around with. But in terms of where it is now, guys, it's a substantial area for what I look for. Okay, so again, doesn't have to be a bounce to the moon, could just be a short-term bounce, even to the 200-day, could be a 10 to 20%, okay, out of 𝗬𝗆. But in terms of big zones, that's a no panic zone. Okay, that's a no panic zone. You're selling here, you're selling on major support. Obviously, it can drop through major support, and then that's a different story. But in terms of a no panic zone, that's a pretty big area. Now, where can it go to next? There's two big levels. If the market shits the bed later, 1.75, get your limit orders ready, and 1.51. Get your limit orders ready. Those are the zones for 𝗬𝗆 where I would expect your next big bounce in the market. So 1.75 and 1.51, 1.52 could make sense for me. Get your limit orders ready there if this big weekly level doesn't hold. Okay, so I'd expect that to hold. And let's see. Marcy, good point. Sol did actually pump more than 𝗬𝗆. What's next, guys? Ondo. Okay, here we go. I was going to give you this level, and this is quite interesting, and this is also a nice representation of how crazy this market is at the moment. Ondo ripped on the weekend into our 50-day MA and trend for a monster rejection. Look what it comes down to. Bang, into our 786. And quite a nice reaction. So this one is now locked and loaded here for you guys. That is your support on Ondo, 0.86. Watch that level, 0.86. That is your Ondo support you're going to be watching now. If the market does start falling over, what I want you to do is just mark these next levels on your chart, and you can see I've got a weekly level for you. Look at this beautiful touches here on the weekly. So 78 to 76 is going to be your next Ondo weekly level. So if your 86 doesn't hold, let's say the market falls over, 78 to 76 is going to be your next reaction zone where you should see something like you're seeing now. Okay, you see a 6-7% bounce at the moment. 78 to 76, that's going to be your next zone if this 85, 86 does not hold. Okay, guys, remember these charts are going into Chart Hackers straight after the show for you. Okay, next one is XRP, and I know James actually laughed at me, and this head and shoulders, it's actually a thing, and you didn't like the look of it, and I didn't quite believe it as a strategic reserve, but Trump's fucked everything up again.
Broke everything, so it's not surprising. But hey, this comment here got me searching. Brett is going to get a Coinbase listing.
No fucking way.
Finally, yeah. I went to look it up, and it says they're adding support. It's not listed yet, but their pathway type thing. Coinbase announced that they are going to have it in there for their perp markets eventually. But at least they've got the initial announcement. We didn't know if that was ever going to happen. Popcat pumped like 20% when that happened. So, okay, so here we go. Let's talk XRP. So in terms of bigger picture, yes, looks a bit shitty. Doesn't look great at the moment. Where are the big levels for me? XRP, 1.96, 1.74. Those are the big levels for XRP. Now, short-term stuff. I dropped this in Chart Hackers earlier today. What can we look at? Here's your possible short-term bounce zone. You see, it says short-term bounce zone, okay? And Mia says she's shorting XRP. Savage, Mia. Absolute savage play. So in terms of can XRP bounce? Yes, that's a short-term bounce zone where we are right now. So support that you can use is 2.32. Watch that area. In terms of upside, I wouldn't get too excited about this. I'd actually be super careful with where this thing can go. And what you can do is take your fibs from the highs to the lows, and you want to identify an area. You want to identify an area where there is a little bit of confluence there with a couple of things. So let's take a look here. We've got our 50-day MA. Let's see where our VWAP's sitting, a little bit lower. And we've got horizontal. So in terms of if the market pumps today, where should you be TPing if you're catching a ride now on XRP, for example? 2.7 makes sense to me. Watch that 2.7. That's a possible short zone. Look at that. 50-day MA, 618, horizontals. We've got some VWAP action. So just be careful up there. 2.7, that's a danger zone for me. And then obviously your highs at floating around about 2.98. Watch that region as well. So that's your danger zone there for XRP. In terms of support, watch these lows, 2.31, and then lower down. If the market is falling over, guys, you're watching for me, 199
down to say 190 makes sense to me on XRP as your next potential reversal zone. Okay, so XRP traders, you got a couple of levels there that you can play with. What next? Cardano 76. Look at that 76. Look at this beautiful reaction off our 618. So let's take a look, because we did take a look at this chart yesterday on the lower time frames. Look at that. Okay, so we're getting a little move. I dropped this one on hackers. Now, I didn't take this trade, guys, but I dropped this for the hackers guys today. In terms of ADA, we are now in a danger zone here. Okay, so that is your VWAP in the way, and I would watch that at 914. So watch that 914 zone. But in terms of Cardano support, guys, if you're sitting in this thing at the moment, you can see 0.805 is going to be your support. This was the zone we were watching today. We were just saying in hackers, we looking for a little bit of consolidation in that zone. So anything like that, you look for that consolidation, and then you look for that pop. And then you typically get that break, and then you can add on when you get a little bit of momentum. Okay, so pretty frustrating on that one. So yeah, this thing is now cooking. I would be pretty careful. Let's go back to our weeklies. And you can see in terms of resistance now on the weekly, 92 is your problem. 92 is going to be a problem. When you reclaim 92, then you probably get your next journey to 1.16. So just go baby steps here, guys. Let's get through a couple of big levels. You can see you've got VWAP resistance here at the moment. So just be safe here. This 92 region does look like a big problem. Okay, so that's effectively what you want to do when you've reclaimed this 92. That is when you're going to get your next push up in the market. Okay, let's go injective. And we're not quite there. There's something about injective that tells me it wants to go lower. I think injective has been relatively weaker than a lot of these other alts. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you guys have noticed this as well. But it wasn't like a massive pumper when the market recovered the other day. And Guillem will take your question now. I'm going to look at it now. But in terms of injective, where can this thing go to the downside? Now, this is a big zone that I want you guys to mark on your charts. I want you guys to get alarms on for this thing. These are spot buying zones here. Anything from 10 down to 8.2. If you get a dip into that region, you can see this is quite a strong level here for us in terms of a weekly on injective. So I quite like the look of that area, and in terms of a possible bounce zone. So for me, anything from 10 to 8.2 makes sense as a nice reaction zone there. And injective hit the 365-day low today, according to Zen. And yes, that is correct. Okay, yes, well spotted. Okay, so 10 to 8.2 makes the most sense for me on injective. And then guys, 𝗏𝘀, I think it's a matter of time. There's no level here on the weekly for 𝗏𝘀 to just randomly bounce. Now, stranger things have happened in crypto. Well, there's one level. Okay, correction. There's one level there. Okay, it's the highs from February 23. Okay, February 23, the highs. Is that going to be the one that lets 𝗏𝘀 bounce? So a little bit suspicious for me. But in terms of next levels, 5, 6, 9, watch that. And then I really think there's a proper buy here if it does come here at 4.0. Okay, the market's going to be filth if we go there, but mark this alarm. You never know. Set a stink bid, drop a limit order there. That's a zone to pay attention to on 𝗏𝘀. So it's multiple zeros, 4, and then 5, 6, 9 makes sense. And then the level that it's sitting on right now, 69. Okay, that is what we're going to look at. Mackie says, who would have thought injective was going to be under 10, bro? You know what? Nothing surprises me in crypto anymore. You get these 15% pumps, and then you think, fuck, it's never going back there. And 2 days later, it's back there. And you're looking at how our Cardano got absolutely rinsed back. And maybe it is going to bounce now. Okay, guys, messy out there. Lots of news in the market. Just be careful. Okay, these are super choppy conditions. There's no need to ape into a gazillion positions. You can see I'm not in too many trades at the moment, just letting things do what they need to do. When we get clear direction in the market, maybe it's later. If we get a nice announcement from Uncle Donald, then we know what to do. If you get a bearish announcement, any pumps you're seeing in the market now could potentially give you some pretty good short opportunities. So look out. If the market starts pumping green before he starts speaking, maybe just eye out a couple of hedge plays there, possible shorts there for you guys. And XRP was one of them, 2.7. Cardano was one of them you can watch as well. Anything that's pumping, okay? Just look for a resistance zone, and you can maybe start looking at a hedge play. Now, that's it, guys. Wrap from me. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Well, hopefully things are less choppy tomorrow. Hopefully you have some direction. We'll see you guys later.